colorful, very nice.
You're listening to the Kick-Ass Fantasy Football Show with your hosts, the Fantasy Insider, Matt Brick, the Commish, Henry Brick, and the Doctor, Jeff Hathcock.
Good evening, everyone. You're listening to the Kick-Ass Fantasy Football Show. I am Matt Brick, your host. I'm joined by Henry the Commish Brick and Jeff the Doctor Hathcock. Good evening, gentlemen. How are we feeling?
Man, feeling good. Loving football. The Birds won last night. That defense is crazy good, even without Jair Alexander.
Yeah, it's nice to have some teams this week that are only 2 teams on a bye, so that's pretty cool. You don't have to worry about missing all these great players, with the exception of Jonathan Taylor, the one and only.
Right, the boss man.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's just get straight through the news, and we'll go from there. All right, so Travis Hunter is officially out for the season. He's getting surgery on his knee, so hope the best for him there. The Jeff's Giants, fired their head coach, Brian Daboll, after starting 20, 40, and 1 for his head coaching record. I'm sure Jeff will have a lot of thoughts on that. Asante Samuel Jr. signed with the Steelers. Garrett Wilson. Yeah, he did. He did sign with them today, actually. Perfect timing for Philadelphia. Garrett Wilson is reported to be out for 3 to 4 weeks, but Aaron Glenn made a weird statement about that, so I don't know how to read that. But we'll see how that goes. Dalton Kincaid was ruled out with a hamstring injury Sunday. Aronde Gadsden did not return with a knee injury. Devontae Adams suffered a oblique injury, but could have returned if it was a closer game, according to Sean McVay. Jackson Dart, shame. He was ruled out with a concussion, and I read that Brock Purdy could potentially return this week, coming back from that toe injury.
Yeah, sure.
There's only 2 teams on bye week this week, the Colts and the Saints. So if you got Daniel Jones, Michael Pittman, I doubt you have anyone good on the Saints. Maybe Kamara and Olave, but those guys are going to want to sit.
Juwan Johnson.
Okay, it's another good one. Yeah, you're going to want to sit them this week because they're not playing. All right, Jeff, you have the floor. The Jets head coach just got fired. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, it was a long time coming. The past 3 seasons, they've not even just going back the past 3 seasons, but this season alone, I know we lost a lot of weapons. I know we lost Neighbors, we lost Scattaboo, we lost the heart and soul of this team, but we've had multiple games. We've had 4 games where we're going into the 4th quarter with big leads, and we're blowing those leads. Everyone knows about the Broncos. We were crushing the Broncos all game, and then they come back. That's all coaching. You got to rally your guys. I know there's a lot of players, who like Daboll. If it was me, I honestly think Joe Shane should have been gone too. But apparently, Mara still likes him for whatever reason. But I think, especially like seeing the hard knocks and all that stuff, I think he should be gone too. He's been making bonehead decisions, but it had to happen. I don't know what it's going to leave for Dart, because Daboll really liked Dart. That was kind of his guy, and he was kind of betting his. The way they were playing with Dart, he was basically sacrificing this kid's health, having him running all these crazy plays. Listen, it was great for fantasy, but the dude's been inside the medical tent for concussions. How many weeks? It's crazy. Daboll was trying to save his job. Didn't pan out that way. I don't know what's in store for the Giants' future, for Jackson Dart's future. I like the kid. I think he is a good player, and who knows what he'll look like when he has an actual head coach behind him who can hopefully help him continue to grow. We'll see. But it had to happen.
I'm hoping that this move gave the Eagles their new offensive coordinator next year, Brian Daboll.
You just never know, right?
Right. Yeah. Listen, you never know.
You never know. What I was going to say is, if Belichick's not happy with North Carolina. I mean, you never know. But
I don't want Belichick.
no,
If the way it's shaken out right now, if I had my pick of any offensive coordinator or previous head coach, I would love Mr. Kubiak, because I think what he's doing right now with that Seahawks team, you can kind of cut and paste and I mean, listen, Sam Darnold, yeah, he had one great year last year, but he's looking like a great player. They don't have an incredible team. They just have a good team, but they have their one star, wide receiver, Jackson Smith-Njigba. We've got Malik Neighbors. We've got Cam Scatterbo. Like, we get these guys back and healthy, and if Kubiak can come in here, kind of whip this offense into shape, and then get some semblance of a defense, because right now, like, we have a great defensive front, but they can't stop the run and they can't stop the deep pass. Like, it's unreal. But yeah. We'll see. If I had anyone to pick, I would love for him to take a shot at a head coaching position, but who knows? I don't want Belichick though. I can't stand the Patriots. I still can't stand Belichick. I don't want anything.
Hey, the guy wins, man. He won a lot of games, man.
He won a lot of games with Tom Brady.
That's true. All right, let's go. Let's go right into the show here. We got our startup and sit-em segments. I'll start it off real quick. All right, so this week I have Justin Herbert as the quarterback to start this week. He goes up against the Jags, and they've given 227 fantasy points to quarterbacks, which is 31st in the league. I think this is a huge smash start for Justin Herbert. I think he'll do very well against the Jags defense there. Next, I have Jalen Warren, a.k.a. the Apex Predator, who goes up against the Bengals, who have allowed 244 fantasy points to running backs, which is the worst in the league. A great divisional matchup for Warren that I love. So I love Jalen Warren this week. And lastly, I like Jordan Addison's matchup this week against the Bears. Chicago has allowed 215 fantasy points to wide receivers, which is 29th in the league. I think as long as J.J. McCarthy doesn't panic, the Vikings can have a great game. So those are my three starts this week. Kamish, what do you have for us?
Gentlemen, I'm going back to the well. Mr. Joseph Flacco. Okay, he plays the Steelers. Listen, the last 3 weeks, how about this? 24 points a week, 3 weeks in a row. The Bengals' defense is absolutely terrible, but it's allowed him to throw the ball at least like 43 times a game. So that's fantasy love right there. Joe Flacco, must start. Guy's a beast.
Let's go, Flacco.
What is he, like 40, 41, something like that? I mean, monster beast.
41 years young.
Exactly. Yes, I feel good about that age. It's very nice. Running back, Woody Marks. He plays the Titans, who allow the fifth most points to the running back. Plus, he's coming off a game where he's 16 carries, 81 yards and a touch versus the Jags. Now he's playing the Titans. I think Marks has the juice. He looks good, and I think he's a great start this week. Finally, I hate this pick that I'm putting it in here because he's going against my beloved Birds, but Jameson Williams. Listen, here's the thing. We just got news right before the show. Jair Alexander? Is that his name? Mm-hmm. We just traded for him from the Packers, and he decides that he's going to step away. Killing me, right? So totally wasted trade. So that means that Goff is going to target Adoree Jackson. Adoree will be on Jameson Williams, which tells me he will be absolutely peppered in this game. So to me, Jameson Williams is an absolute start against the Birds, because if there's any weak point on the Birds, which we all watched last night, they're really, really hard to find. But that's one spot that I did find. JMO got to start this week. Doctor, the floor is yours, sir.
Yeah, I mean, listen, Travion Henderson, welcome to fantasy. It's good to have you here. Listen, this Bucs defense, it was no joke against the run, and he did whatever he wanted to do on the ground against them. I think he's going to have another smash game this week against the Jets' depleted defense. They're giving away players at this point. If I know he's he's supposedly questionable for this week, for this Thursday night game. But if you got him, you're starting him in your lineups, and you're hoping he just has a smash matchup against this bad defense. And I normally don't do this, but the Houston Texans defense, they're coming in this week as the number 1 ranked defense in fantasy, and especially because they're playing against the Titans offense that ranks dead last in points per game, which is 14.4, and sacks allowed per game, which is 4.2. So if you got the Texans defense, if they are on your waiver wire, you need to pick them up. I think it's a smash start for that defense. It's going to be a top 5 defense this week, and I love the pass rush. I think they're going to get after Cam Ward. So if you got them, play them. And I love the Flacco pick, Henry. I think it's especially with what these two teams did last time. I mean, Flacco had a heck of a game. He targeted Jamar Chase so much, but I also think T. Higgins is he's going to have himself in game 2. The last time he took the field, he hauled in 7 of 9 targets for 121 receiving yards and a pair of touchdown grabs. Since week 5, he's had 5 touchdown receptions and is averaging 17.7 PPR fantasy points per game. That's the 7th most among all wide receivers during that period. I think he's a smash start. I love this game. It's two defenses that I don't think they really got much in them. So hopefully it's just another crazy offensive game for the both of these teams. I can't wait.
Tell you what, I got Jamar Chase the rest of the way as like the receiver to have because of Flacco's play and because of how horrible Bengals defense is. Jamar Chase, Jesus.
And now there's talk of Burrow coming back by week 14.
Right, but it's all going to depend on the win
playoffs
schedule, I think.
Exactly.
Hopefully,
but listen,
they've win some games.
they've got a very easy schedule. They can throw them. I mean, Flacco's going to throw the ball. Like they have a winnable schedule the rest of the way. They've got a very nice schedule. So hopefully we'll be able to see Mr. Burrow come back.
Absolutely.
All right. Before I get into the Sid'em segment, you are listening to us on Cruise 92.1 WVLT Vineland, and you're also listening to us here on YouTube. We were talking before the show, and Jeff mentioned how great of a game Jonathan Taylor had in Germany this past Sunday. And I just looked it up, and it is a record. He scored 83.6 points in our main league. That is the best a player has ever done in our league as number 1. If you can guess who was number 2, who was beat out, it was owned by the Drunk Muppets, the commish himself, Jamar Chase. Week 17 in 2021 scored 82.6. So that's a full point more than Chase than in 21. So that's the
last time I think my team was good in that league.
There you go.
Right?
Sounds about right. Yeah.
For those who don't know, by the way, we play with like the bigger plays, like the longer plays, the big touchdown bombs.
Performance. It's a performance PPR.
Yes, we get much more points.
Touchdowns or double touchdowns. Running backs get points for every first down. So, and the commission wants more points for every yard you get.
Listen, let's talk about that for just a second.
Okay, fine. Go right ahead.
What do you want to play?
I'll recant my time.
You're relatively new to our league, but not new to fantasy. Now, you know how we do the the receiver points, right? If a guy catches 43 yards, that's 4.3 points, right? Okay, so now I'm thinking the kicker, which actually not adds, it detracts from our scoring, because right now an over 50-yard field goal is a double field goal, 6 points, right? So what I'm saying is, if it's a 54-yard field goal, it's 5.4 points. 43-yard field goal is 4.3 points.
Get rid of kickers. Get rid of kickers.
Listen, first off, we shouldn't even be having kickers. I'm on Jeff's side on that.
Yeah.
And
now, I had another idea that Matt hates.
Get
Jeff,
out of here.
listen to this idea.
I
I don't think there's a way to score it currently, but I could write the our provider, which is myfantasyleague.com. They're excellent. Let's say it's a bomber right down the field to let's say who's Darius Slayton, right? 75 yards. It's right there and pass interference. So he doesn't catch the ball, but it's a 60-yard game. Don't you think that guy should get the yards? Because the NFL, he gets the yards. Fantasy, I feel like he should get the yards.
He doesn't get the yards on his stat sheet.
On his stat sheet.
Simple as that.
The team moves.
The team gets the points. Yeah, player doesn't get the points.
The team gets the benefit.
Fantasy teams.
We just had a guy score 83.6.
Like I said,
he wants it to be 207.
200.
I'm just trying to look at ways to tweak it.
Crazy. It's insane. I can't.
Just makes
guys
sense.
would have over 200 we would have 200 to 300 yard games weekly. That would be stupid. Anyway.
It makes it more fun.
It would not make it more fun. Your teams are so bad. That's what you need in order to have a shot. So we're gonna move on.
We have fun here. We have fun.
Yes. Parallel proposals, insane. It's just crazy. things that don't happen. The flags. It's just wild. All right. I'll start it off with my sits of the week. This one, I was kind of surprised when I thought about it, but I'm going with it. I have, first off, I think this is the game of the week here. We got the Broncos and the Chiefs. I'm sitting Patrick Mahomes this week for this. I think the Broncos defense will get to him, and I do not think he will have a good fantasy week. The Broncos defense has allowed 135 fantasy points to quarterbacks, which is the second best in the league. So this is a warning to Patrick Mahomes owners. Go and find a better replacement for Mahomes this week. Joe Flacco could be an excellent I couldn't be more of a proponent for Flacco this week. He is a baller. So go and see if you can find him because I think he might have a better week. Next, I have Breece Hall. First, he plays on Thursday night, which I hate Thursday night football. It's just been I don't even remember who. Oh, it was that game last week. It was the Broncos and the Raiders, and it was the worst game of the week. Worst game of the year so far, in my opinion, because it was just it was so bad. How did the Broncos only put up 10 points on the Raiders? I don't know, but that's what happened.
I was in Florida. I didn't get to see it. Shutting myself.
But it doesn't matter. What matters is you're going to want to bench Breece Hall. He goes up against the Patriots this Thursday night, and the Patriots have allowed 99 fantasy points against running backs. And they also finally just allowed a rusher to get over 50 yards. This past week, it was Sean Tucker with 53 yards. Breece Hall, I do not think will have a great game against this Patriots defense, so I'm benching him this week. And lastly, I have Jacoby Myers. He goes up against the Chargers defense. They have allowed 138 fantasy points against the wide receiver, which is the second best in the league. I also think it's, this is Myers' second week with the new team. So I think it's going to take a while for him to get acclimated with the new team. So I'm benching Jacoby Myers. Jeff, what do you got?
Yeah, I mean, I'm going right back to this rivalry game, the Chiefs and the Broncos. As good as the Chiefs have been in recent weeks against the run, they've been even better against the pass game and a thwarted fantasy manager sides when looking for wide receiver options. Cortland Sutton right now, he's a great option, but he's being outproduced right now by Troy Franklin. And the last time we saw Sutton on the field, it was that punt fest that we just talked about against this bad Raiders team that held him to just 5.4 fantasy points with just 3 receptions for 24 yards. He's a sit for me. If you drafted something this year, I'm sorry. I'm very fortunate that I don't have him on any of my fantasy teams. I've never really been a super fan of the guy, but he's a sit for me. And then Tyron Tracy, it's not his fault that Brian Daboll's, he got the axe this week, but it didn't really help the situation. Having 66% of the snaps this past week, he only managed 7.1 fantasy points, and this comes after a 3.7 fantasy point stinker. They're going up against the Packers, who just had a tough game against the Eagles, And I think Micah Parsons is going to make his life, very, very difficult this week. So if you got Tyrone Tracy and you're banking on this guy in like a flex spot, I would try to get him out of a flex spot if I was you. And my third guy, it's Jared Goff, and that might be a surprise for some people on this list. He's coming off an incredible performance that he just had against his Commanders team in Week 10. He threw for 320 passing yards with 3 touchdowns with Dan Campbell taking over the play calling. However, the Eagles boast one of the top defenses in the NFL, as we know, and they looked their best all season on Monday night against this Packers team. Granted, the Packers, they've had injuries. They didn't have Tucker Kraft. They don't have Jaden Reed. But the recent acquisitions are already paying their dividends. And similar to Jordan Love, Goff struggles when he's pressured. And the Eagles pass rush had some extra juice with newly acquired pass rusher Jalen Phillips. And I think the matchup just is going to favor the Eagles. I think it's going to be a close game, but I definitely don't think Goff's going to have one of those blow-up, score 40-plus games this week. So, I would consider benching him. And how are we feeling this week, Doctor? Who are you sitting?
Well, Doctor, it's funny you mentioned about, the Packers didn't have Tucker Kraft, Jane Reed, and in between Bourbons, Troy Aikman and Joe Buck yourself kept saying also didn't have Matthew Golden. They must have said that 5 times like he's the second coming. Listen, Matthew Golden, he's a rookie. Okay, seriously. This is all I heard. All they said. It wasn't because the Eagles are the Super Bowl champions and are at the top of their game. It's because they're missing Matthew Golden. They're terrible. We should have put on Manning Cast. That's how terrible they were. Okay, sorry, I had to vent a little. I'm still getting used to this cold weather here in New Jersey. I just came back from Florida. I got to visit my father. Okay, and his wife Michelle, his beautiful wife Michelle, all she did was cook food for us. The whole time, all I did was eat. And as she referred to her son, I think she could refer to me. I'm a gavone. That's all I did was eat. It was unbelievable. Drank a lot of wine too. It was beautiful too. All right, so my sits of the week. Sam Darnold goes up against the Rams, who give up the 8th fewest points to the quarterback. Okay, and Darnold to me seems to be more very matchup dependent. I mean, I know great coaching and everything like that, but man, the Rams they're a tough defense. So I'm hoping you find a better start at quarterback, like Matt said. Joe Flacco is probably the start of the week, right? I'm sticking with the same team. Ken Dog Walker is also playing the Rams. He has failed to get double-digit fantasy points in 5 straight games. So something to keep in mind. Rams give up the fewest points to the running back in the league. So I am sitting Ken Dog Walker if I'm able to. If you have to, you have to, but definitely don't want to put him in daily. And if you have a better opportunity at running back, I would definitely sit Ken Dog Walker Jr. Now, finally, Xavier Worthy up against the Broncos. Matt wanted to sit Patty Mahomes. I'm sitting Xavier Worthy. His production the last 4 weeks have resulted in 3 catches. Okay, so now you're going up against the Broncos, who give the fewest points to the wide receiver. So to me, it's a no-brainer to sit Xavier Worthy. So that's what I got. Hopefully, y'all wrote that down. It'll help you get a win this week. You'll thank me later.
All right, let's get right into our Dude I'm Sorry segment. Commish, why don't you start?
All right, boys. Well, let's see. Last week, I wanted you to start my non guy, okay? He went 7 for 28 yards, but he did get a touchdown, which I was happy about. But he was severely outgained by DeAndre Swift. I did not realize he was coming back in the game. That really crushed my whole Monangai situation. For this dude, I'm sorry. However, I was very, very high on Mr. Jackson Dart. And listen, he leaves the game early with a concussion and still managed to put up 19 completions for 242 yards. He had 6 rushes for 66 yards and 2 tutties. Listen, Jackson Dart is an absolute beast. And hopefully you listened to me, you got him in your lineup, and he did great for you. Doctor, what are you sorry about?
Yeah, I mean, listen, if you were telling me in DFS the Justin Jefferson play, it was not pretty. I don't know if it's effort, but I feel like, I mean, obviously JJ McCarthy, he's not a rookie, but I mean, this is his first year actually playing. He's coming back from the injury, but I just feel like Justin Jefferson and him are just not in sync right now. Hopefully, he gets better down the stretch with some easier matchups. But yeah, if you tailed me on the Justin Jefferson thing for the DFS, I'm sorry about that. But on that flip side, man, Alec Pierce, I keep talking about him. He was the wide receiver 14 this past week. He caught he was 4 of 7. He had 84 yards in the touchdown, and he's just looking good, man. I mean, I've picked him up in a couple leagues that I'm in that I've needed help in, and he's delivering. Like it's great to see him really have a connection with Daniel Jones. But what about you, Matt?
All right. Let's see. Last week, I told you to start James Cook, JC3, who had 53 rushing yards and 5 catches for 24 yards. For that dude, I'm sorry. I'm sorry the Bills were terrible against the Dolphins. Who would have thunk? But
They were terrible.
I also told you to start Jared Goff, who had 320 yards and 3 touchdowns last week, which was phenomenal. And I also told you to start Ladd McConkey, who had 4 catches for 107 yards and a touchdown. So for that, you are very much welcome. All right. Let's keep moving and grooving. We will go into our DFS lineup of the week segment. Before that, you are listening to us on Cruiser 92.1 WVLT Vineland, and you're listening to us live here on YouTube. All right. I'll start it off. Why not? This week, for my DFS lineup of the week, it looks like we all went Flacco. That's excellent. So I went Joe Flacco at 5,500 against the Steelers. I mean, it's a deal for Flacco. Coming off a bye, 5,500, I'll take 2. All right, so I'm going with Joe Flacco there against the Steelers. I think that's a great matchup, and I think he'll do very well. At running back, I have Rico Dowdle at 6,800 against the Falcons. I think that's just a good matchup for Dowdle, so I look forward to see him there. And then at running back, I also have Woody Marks, 5,400 at Tennessee. Yeah, I think Marks did a pretty good job last week, so I'm hoping that he continues to do that. The Texans kind of shocked the world last week, so I like Marks there. At wide receiver, I have George Pickens at 7,000 against the Raiders on Monday Night Football. YouTube TV, figure it out. And I have T. Higgins at 6,000 against the Pittsburgh Steelers. So I have that stack there with Flacco. I think I like this game for Higgins here against the Steelers. My third receiver is Jordan Addison at 5,500 versus the Bears. Like I said earlier, I think JJ McCarthy's kind of getting a little bit more into rhythm. He did. I think he. I was really thinking if the Vikings played the way they did in that first quarter against the Ravens, I think they would have won that game. They just stopped, and I think he kind of panicked a little, but I think he's getting
Jeff,
himself.
doesn't it sound like Matt likes McCarthy?
No, I'm not saying I like him. I'm just saying that I think that he's starting to actually get himself into a rhythm finally.
He is.
And I mean, it only took so many weeks, especially since he got hurt. But I do like Addison this week, so there you go. My tight end is Harold Fannin Jr., 3,800 against the Ravens. He's just a monster. They got a great gem there in Fannin. I wasn't expecting all this volume that he's been getting. And then on my flex spot, I have James Cook at 7,300 against the Bucks. I think this is a better matchup for Cook, especially since he's not playing a divisional matchup there. So he'll probably get more in the passing game as well against the Bucs. And for my defense, I got the Broncos defense at 2,600 against the Chiefs. I think the Broncos get to Mahomes, and I think that's what matters the most. So that's my lineup. Write it down, submit it, and win some money. Kamish?
Well, listen, I'd like to dedicate my DFS lineup to the veterans. Today is Veterans Day. I want to thank all the veterans out there for their service. Amazing, amazing stuff. Thank you. Thank you very much. And for that, I'm going to give everyone a winning DFS lineup. I'm going Joe Flacco, as I've been saying from the beginning. He's got to put my glasses on here. 5,500 going up against the Steelers. He's just going to have to throw it a cajillion times. So make sure Flacco's in your lineup. I agree with Matt on Dowdle. 6,800 going up against Atlanta. Dowdle just has like a mission to crush everyone he plays. So I love that. The guy has great attitude, and he's playing really hard. And to go in there and beat out Chuba Hubbard is just crazy to me. So Dowdle must start. I'm also going Josh Jacobs going up against the Giants. That defense is just – it could be run on. It's 7,800, and Jacobs seems to score every week. So I like Jacobs here. Sticking with Jamar Chase, I said it earlier. I think Jamar Chase is the number one receiver the rest of the way, just because they have to put it up so many times. And God forbid Joe Burrow does come back, forget about it. Jamar Chase lights it up even more. Tyler Lockett, okay? Monday Night Football against Dallas, 3,400. I reached gets in the bargain bin, all right, which allowed me to pay a little bit extra for some guys like Chase and Jacobs. But Tyler Lockett, I like him, right? Up against Dallas. Dallas' secondary is absolutely terrible. I talked about it earlier. James Williams against Philly. He'll be Adoree Jackson, who probably should be playing flag football. He'd probably be excellent at that. Will be guarding Jama, which he'll be open. You could book that right now. Matter of fact, that's a good bet that he will score an anytime touchdown. Maybe once, maybe twice. Okay. At tight end, Luke Musgrave. Okay, he's filling in for the excellent Tucker Kraft. He's only 3,700. I think the Giants are susceptible to the tight end, and at 3,700, I think he's a great deal, and I think he gets in the end zone. My flex position, I got Parker Washington, 5,100. He's going up against the Chargers. I think that's a good deal because you got a lot of injuries out there, right? Brian Thomas, Hunter's out, right? You said for the year. Parker Washington is the guy right this second. So I think he's a good play at flex. And finally, my defense, I'm going with the Packers against the Giants because I do not expect Dart to play this week. The statue Russell Wilson will be in there, and I think the Packers will be feasting. It could be a record day for sacks, unfortunately, because the Giants, they don't have Dart back there to bust out of all the stuff, which he does so wonderfully. I like that kid. I think that kid's a beast. And anyway, because he's not playing, you got to go Packers D. So that's the story, and I'm sticking to it. That's all the vets.
Yeah, I mean, listen, the more I think about it, we're all on Joe Flacco for 5,500, and that scares me. But I'm with Flacco 5,500. The last time these two teams played, it was lights out. It was just all scoring, all game. I love it. At running back, I got Josh Jacobs as well. Like Henry said, he's scoring every week. And for 7,800, I'll take a guy who scores every week. And he's also going up against a team that cannot stop the run. So he's just probably going to have 2 or 3 touchdowns this game. I wouldn't be surprised. Going with Chase Brown, 5,700. Since Flacco's been under center, Chase Brown's season has turned around. He's got the top 5 rest of the season for running back schedule. As long as he's healthy and as Samaje Perine still has his ankle issue, he's going to get a bulk load of the work. I believe like the last time he played, because they were on the bye last week, he had like 93% of the carries, which is insane. Going with the triple stack, Jamar Chase, 8,500. I think he's going to have himself an insane game again, against the Steelers team. The Steelers defense is old, slow, and Jamar Chase is he's the best wide receiver in the league. And he's going to do pretty much whatever he wants to do to this defense. I've also got a Devonta Smith 5,900. I think this is going to be a back and forth game. This is the two juggernauts in the NFC right now, the Lions and the Eagles. Devonta Smith is going to have to come out and show out for the Eagles to win this game, and I like Jordan Addison too 5,500. I think JJ McCarthy is gonna he's going up against an easier defense. The Bears aren't anything special. I think he's going to find Addison. The Bears love to give up the deep ball, and that's what Addison excels at. And then Pat Freiermuth, 3,200. The Bengals defense is abysmal. They are dead last in the NFL against the tight end. And Arthur Smith, just as the last time these guys played, Pat Freiermuth had an insane game. I picked them up in our league that we play in last week, knowing ahead of the time. This is before Rondé Gadsden got hurt. That Freiermuth was going to be playing these guys again, and why not? Why not just take a long shot on Freiermuth getting that crazy production for only $3,200. In the flex, I'll go with Woody Marks 5,400. We talked about it before. He's going up against this Titans defense that's not very good. This Titans team that's not very good. So I think Woody Marks is going to have a great day on the ground. I think he finds the end zone. And then for my defense, just a chalk play, 2,300 for the Titans. I really don't like any of the prices for the defenses this week. Hopefully I get a couple points out of the defense, and I really get carried by my studs in the lineup.
All right. Well, we actually got a question here. Brian says Diggs for Benson. He listed his running backs here. He has Devin Achane, Ramondre Stevenson, and Amari DiMercado. He also has J.K. Dobbins, who's hurt. His wide receivers are Drake London, Rashee Rice, Diggs, obviously, Jordan Addison, and Tez Johnson, and he also has Jaden Reed. So, what do we think here for Diggs?
I like that trade. I like it because I think Benson, when he comes back, could be doing something really good there. And sounds like he's pretty good at wide receiver right now. What do you think, Jeff?
I like it, but I think you can get more. Right now Drake Mays, he's a top 3 quarterback, if not the best quarterback right now throwing the ball. Diggs is attached to him. I think Diggs was a little bit banged up at the end of this game, but if you're looking to trade, you got plenty of wide receiver depth. I would try to trade for more than just Benson. I think Benson's slated to come back week 13. The last I checked, which is still a couple weeks from now. But if you need bad running back to help now, like you already have DiMercado. DiMercado is going to probably get you there until Benson gets back, and then it's kind of 50-50 muddled backfield. I would try to get like a Jalen Warren, something like that. And this way you have production now. If you're going to trade away Diggs, even if he's on your bench for a guy that's on the IR right now, that really doesn't help you. I would try to just get a guy who's currently active right now. Even if I know it's crazy, Kenneth Walker, Zach Charbonnet. Like if you really just need some type of help there, I would try to go for those guys instead of Benson. But if you really like Benson and you believe in his schedule the rest of the season, I don't see it being a bad move.
Yeah, I think you're right. DiMercado can get him through till Benson gets back if he decides he wants to do that. But just because he's so deep at receiver, it's not bad. But you probably can shop that around a little before. Wow, ETN, yeah, if you can get ETN, I'm in on that. What do you think?
Yeah, I would definitely do that for sure.
Yeah. I like him better than Benson just because he's playing ball right now and he's scoring.
Yeah, I agree with Jeff. I think out of all of them, I would probably trade Diggs if you want to trade one of the wide receivers. And yeah, I think ETN would be a solid trade. And even if you like if you could even get more with Benson, that's a
like Diggs is the wide receiver 20 right now. So the guys around that range: Chase Brown, Jalen Warren, who I just said, Quinshon Judkins, Derrick Henry. Travis Etienne's 16, DeAndre Swift. Like there's plenty. RJ Harvey, especially with the J.K. Dobbins news. Like maybe someone's sleeping and they're like, I'm not sure about RJ Harvey. Like if you want to take a shot.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely have a lot of options there, so keep that in mind, Brian. Keep that in mind. All right, let's keep rocking and rolling. And we'll go to our sleeper / long shot segment. Before that, you're listening to us on Cruiser 92.1 WVLT Vineland, and you're listening to us live here on YouTube. Oh, we got another. Okay, hold on. Brian responded. He told him do Benson if he comes back this week. We'll listen to another trade. Okay, yeah, that's definitely the way to do it. I mean, plus, the fantasy football trade deadline is probably coming soon, so you're gonna want to. Plus, you said you were 7-3, so just keep your options open, and be smart. It's you're doing the right things. So good job. All right. Yeah. So I'll start the sleeper / long shot segment. This week I have Adonai Mitchell as my long shot. I mean, now that Garrett Wilson is out, I guess. I mean, Aaron Glenn was being really weird about it, but I think Mitchell can step up. I feel like Josh Reynolds has just been very not great, and sadly, so has Arian Smith, who is their rookie wide receiver, and he just hasn't really done it. So I think Adonai Mitchell can do something if Justin Fields can figure something out. So that's my guy this week. Commish, who do you get?
Well, I'm going with my big sleeper of the week. It's going to be Tyler Lockett. I had him in my flex and my DFS. I really like him this week. The Raiders traded away Jacoby Myers. And guess what? Last week he had 6 targets, caught 5 balls for 44 yards. He's got a great relationship already with Geno Smith. And he plays the Cowboys on Monday Night Football. And the Cowboys are terrible secondary. So I think that's an awesome long shot / sleeper of the week. Doctor, what do you got?
Yeah, listen, the Bears drafted Luther Burden to be a playmaker in the offense, and there's just, there's some analysts who were comparing him to be the Amon-Ra St. Brown role and all that fun stuff in Ben Johnson's offense. But another week, another drop pass from Olamide Zaccheaus in a crucial game, and with DJ Moore being hurt, I think Burden's starting to inch closer to really having that explosive weapon for Ben Johnson. So I'm just looking at him right now. If he's on the waiver wire, stash him because I think this guy's he's very talented, and I think he's going to show up at the end of this season for sure.
All right, let's go into waiver wire pickups. This is the main event, right? It's waiver wire Tuesday. So let's do it. Let's do it to it. I have on my sheet here, I have Parker Washington and Darius Slayton. Obviously, since Travis Hunter is out for the season, Parker Washington is a huge upgrade there. And like I said earlier, Jacoby Myers probably still isn't completely acclimated to the team yet. It'll probably take another week or two for him to get ready. So I think Parker Washington could be great. And Slayton's just been balling. Obviously, Dart was his guy, I think. So hopefully, Dart gets back better than ever. But, those are my 2 guys. What do you got, Jeff?
Yeah, I've got listen, Kyle Williams. This kid looks good, man. I mean, I love Kayshon Boutte, but who knows what's going to happen with this injury? We're not sure if he comes back. And this kid looks good. He's explosive. A lot of people thought he was just a guy who was just going to be living in the slot, but he's a burner. He's got 4.4 speed. And he managed to turn his 2 targets. He turned it with a 72-yard touchdown. Off a deep crossing route over the middle. I love the explosiveness, and the coaching staff has said they want to get him involved more. So if he's on your waiver wire and you're looking for help at the receiver, or just in the flex spot, and you're trying for that like boom play. Especially with this offense right now, the humming the way it is, and Drake May's playing the way he is, I think it's a great shot. And then Tyler Algier, all this dude does is score touchdowns in the red zone. He runs hard. He's productive when he's given the opportunities. And right now, he's outstaffing Bijan Robinson in the red zone. He's converting for touchdowns, and he's worth stashing on your bench. If he's on the waiver wire, he shouldn't be. But if he is, he definitely needs to be picked up. And this is a long shot, but Malik Washington, he's going to be probably a number 3 fantasy wide receiver with number 2 upside in deeper leagues. And given the Dolphins matchup this week against this Commanders defense in Madrid, I like it as a long shot. I mean, listen, Washington, their defense is not good. I know Dan Quinn said he's going to take over the defensive play calling this week. But I think he's definitely worth having a bid on, having the bid and putting him in your lineup if you need help at wide receiver. I think he's a sneaky play. He's been getting more active, and they're going to be trying to focus on Devon Achane and Jalen Waddle. So I think he can reap the benefits of being that third guy who's not really looked at enough.
Great stuff, Doc, as always. I got Amari DiMercato. We talked about him a little bit earlier. He goes up against the Niners. The Niners allow the third most receiving yards to the running back. Last week, he caught 3 balls for 40 yards. He also ran the ball only 4 times, but he got 64 yards on those 4 carries. So in what I'm seeing in all the leagues I'm in, you guys know I'm in about 30 fantasy leagues, the running backs are they're at a premium right now. So I think, like we talked to the fellow that chimed in earlier, DeMarcado, I think next few weeks should be okay if you need him. I also like Sean Tucker, another running back. He plays Buffalo. They allow the third most rushing yards to the running back. Last week, how about this? 9 carries, 53 yards. That's about 6 yards a carry versus the Pats is what he did. So Sean Tucker, I think, is a great pickup this week. And finally, this one I think is a great pickup, but it's a bye week for him. It's Alec Pierce. I know Jeff's been very high on him. I mean, he is on a bye, but listen, he's running a ton of routes, and he has a great floor of probably a floor of at least 10 fantasy points, but his ceiling is through the roof, right? So I like those kind of guys. If you have room to get him on your squad now, I would, because he will be picked up quickly next week because he's back playing. So that's what I got.
All right, Brian is back. He just got a new trade offer here. Now digs for Swift. He has Caleb Williams, but he's saying that Swift does catch more passes from him. I like that.
Yeah, Swift is really the guy.
I like that a lot better than Ben.
Yeah, we learned that last week with Monangai, although he got the one touchdown. Swift is the guy. And he's getting the carries. He's just outdoing Monangai. So I think that's pretty good.
If you're 7-3, I would just take a look at DeAndre Swift's games coming up, because it is not a fun schedule. He's got, I think it's 3 or 4 straight games. He's going to be facing very tough run defenses. So if it was me, I would hold off. Especially, I don't like double stacking really, unless I'm playing like DFS. But for fantasy, I don't like double stacking my quarterback with my running back. I try to avoid it as much as I can, unless you have
who's his other quarterback? I wonder if you could chime in and tell us.
I'm sure he'll let us know.
Yeah,
but yeah, I think it's a good. I honestly do think it's a decent trade, especially since he has Drake London, Rashee Rice, Jordan Addison, Tez Johnson, Diggs obviously, and Jane Reed. I think he has excellent depth at wide receiver, and I do agree. I do think he could use some help in the running back spot. So I think that helps him a lot.
Yeah. So DeAndre Swift's
I feel like Diggs has been very inconsistent. Sometimes he does nothing.
I think so too. But I just want to.
He said Trevor Lawrence. He is his other quarterback, who's
Oh,
been
God, no.
I'm also in trouble.
Yeah, no.
Pick up Flacco, Brian.
Yeah, pick up
Hopefully
Flacco.
Flacco's
I mean,
out
if
there.
he's
Just
out
go
there,
get him.
if
Drop
Flacco's out
Lawrence
there,
and
you
get
go pick up
Flacco.
Flacco. But
DeAndre Swift, he's playing Minnesota, Pittsburgh, Philadelphia, Green Bay, Cleveland, Green Bay, San Francisco.
yikes! So they haven't played the Packers yet.
They haven't, and he plays them twice. He plays them 14 and Week 16. So you're talking about like any place Cleveland Week 15, like San Fran's.
He said Dylan Gabriel's the best quarterback out there.
Oh no.
Oh man, but yeah, I mean, listen, if you really like Swift and you believe in him, go for it. He's got a very, very tough schedule.
You know what? I just looked up ETN's schedule because he mentioned that earlier. He might be able to get ETN. It's Chargers, Arizona, Tennessee, Colts, Jets. I like that better. I think only for for strength of schedule, but on the other hand, Swift, man, he's been scoring fantasy points every week. Like he's been lighting it up every week that he's on the field. And I know he has a tough schedule, but some guys find ways. If you're tough on the run, he still catches the ball and he can do some stuff. So I don't know. I would look at ETN, but man, just the Jags. It's just a tough team to watch right now.
I would still try to get Jalen Warren.
yeah, for sure. That's tough. I mean, obviously, because you said they played the Packers Week 16, Jeff.
Yeah,
that's playoffs, man. Ugh.
Yeah, he plays them the Week 14. Then he plays Cleveland Week 15.
Week 14. That's a tough game too. Because
then he plays the Packers again.
I mean, obviously he's 7-2. So he's probably on his way.
Yeah, I mean, once you get to the playoffs, it doesn't matter what your record is. It's win or go home.
Right, exactly. So that is tough.
Yeah, like when I'm trading for players, I did this last year. I traded for James Conner in a couple leagues because I knew he was going to smash, and obviously he got injured at the very end. But like he had a great stretch run. Like you want to play matchups, it's just you don't want to go in trading for guys who are going to go into ridiculously hard matchups, especially for your playoffs.
Here's a crazy thought. Sell high right now on Caleb Williams. Go get Flacco. Maybe Burrow's out there. Pick him up, put him on your IR, and have Flacco the rest of the way. That's what I do.
Honestly, that's not a bad idea.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's. I don't know about that. All right, let's go into buy low, sell high. If you have any questions, just enter in the chat and we'll answer it for you. So, my buy low this week, I have Michael Pittman Jr. I feel like he's been balling out this year, and I feel like no one's talking about it. I know, and everyone's crowding around Alec Pierce like a swarming Alec Pierce, which
I love him.
Understand, but
I love him.
I think that Michael Pittman Jr. has just been balling, and I'm telling you, when everyone's going left, I gotta go right, and I gotta go Michael Pittman Jr. because he's having a heck of a year, and I feel like maybe Pittman owners don't get it because they're seeing it, they're seeing the results, but I don't know. I feel like we're not getting a lot of talk about Pittman Jr. He's been balling out, and my sell high is Tyler Algier. He had a game. Now go trade him away. That's my suggestion there. All right, Kamesh, what do you got?
Well, I got another buy low candidate. Maybe you go if you know what. Here's another move, and this ties in with my buy low. My buy low guy is Jackson Dart. Probably not going to play this week, but when he is back, he is a must start every week. And it doesn't matter who's out there. The kid just gets the job done. You go trade Caleb Williams for Jackson Dart, and you know who you pick up? Geno Smith. He plays the Cowboys Monday night this week. Just to get by this week, Geno's going to rip it up. I'm telling you, against Cowboys. Cowboys have no defense. Okay, they are terrible. So just an idea. But anyway, Jackson Dart, matchup proof. And like I said, this is a good buy low week to get him because he's out on concussion. My sell high is going to be Kamani Vidal. He scored 17 fantasy points the 3 of the last 5 games. And guess what? After week 12, Hampton will be back off IR. So right now is the time to get rid of Adele for somebody that needs him. Get what you can for him right now because Hampton will be back, and that'll be the end of Adele. Doctor, what do you got?
Listen, I love this segment, especially when people are calling in asking about players to trade for and stuff. Because my buy low right now is Bucky Irving. Now this is not for every team, especially if you're a 4-6 team that needs wins immediately. This play is not for you. But I like the idea of trying to pry Bucky Irving, who hasn't played since week 4, away from a frustrated, impatient investor. Right now there's mentions that there's no timetable for his return. So is it a risky gamble? Sure. But the team right now, it's playoff bound. They play the long game and invest in a top 10 running back who gets the green light matchups against the Saints, the Falcons, the Panthers, and the Dolphins in weeks 14 to 17. If you have wide receiver depth, like we were just talking about before, Brian, I'd be willing to part ways with guys as good as Ladd McConkey, George Pickens, or Rome Odunze in order to get Bucky just because of the matchups he has. Again, not every team can afford to do this, but if you're 7-3 and you're really pushing for the playoffs, is it a gamble? Sure, but I'm listen. Bucky was the guy last year who won a lot of people leagues. I'm looking to try to acquire him anywhere I can get him. And my sell high right now is Alec Pierce. He's been a sell high candidate. He's my favorite sell high candidate right now. He's been great the past 2 weeks, wide receiver 15 and 14. And for as high as I am on him, he more than likely will see some regression because he's playing with Jonathan Taylor and he's got Michael Pittman. And Josh Downs is healthy and getting back into the mix. So there's tougher matchups on the horizon. And I think the target share is just inconsistent. It's not going to be always, he's not always going to be the wide receiver 15 and 14. So if you have him, I would try to trade him away to get a depth piece. Try to get a mid wide receiver too if you can, or try to get a back like a Jalen Warren, just a solid guy who's Jalen Warren's schedule the rest of the way. If you got him, how juicy his matchups are. I don't just talk about Jalen Warren because I like him. I think he's okay, but his matchups the rest of the way are great. So if you have Alec Pierce, try to go get Jalen Warren.
All right, Brian. The last comment he said that it's a 14-man league and he has priority 13 for Joe Burrow tomorrow morning, so it's a 2% chance they'll get him. We shall see. All right, that's gonna do it for us here at the Kick-Ass Fantasy Football Show. And remember, if you're not playing fantasy football, you're probably on the phone arguing with YouTube TV. Have a great one.
Thank you for listening to another edition of the Kick-Ass Fantasy Football Show. Be sure to like, subscribe, and follow us on Twitter at KAF Football.